Our opponent is 21-47. Let's play e4 here. e5, I'll develop my knight, hit the pawn. He guards it, and we're going to be playing the Italian game. He's playing the two knights defense. Pawn to d3 is the correct move here. And then from here, it's just going to be regular development. He develops his bishop. I'm going to simply get my king out the center of the board. And then he plays h6, which is an interesting move. Here, I'm just going to play c3 with the whole idea of playing d4 and attacking the bishop, which is why he played a5, because he wants to pull his bishop back to a7. Now let's say I play d4 and I attack the bishop. Takes, the bishop has to move. If I push and then he pulls back the bishop, it's just weird. Let's play d4 and force him to move that bishop again. Now we're gaining a lot of tempo on his bishop. So he pulls his bishop back to d6. Yeah, that's definitely an uncomfortable square for a bishop. I'm thinking of taking here. Knight takes, bishop takes, check, king takes, check, king has to move, then take the bishop, and then his king is just not able to get castled. Does this work though? If I takes, he could also take with the bishop, and then if I takes, the knight takes, and then my bishop is under attack. But then I just need to move my bishop, he castles his king, and then I have the bishop here. Let's go for it. Let's just take. So he has to play bishop takes if he doesn't want to immediately lose the game. Ooh, he plays knight takes. This is losing. This is losing in all scenarios. First of all, if I take the knight, bishop takes, I could sack my queen, give a check. No, not the queen. Sack the bishop, give a check, take back the bishop. Or, once I take and his bishop takes, can't I just play f4 here? Because if I play f4 and he pulls the bishop back, e5 is just a fork. What am I missing? Takes, king takes. There is no check here. I almost blundered my queen. There's no checks. The knight is there. But what if I play f4? Let's just play f4. This is completely winning. f4. His bishop is trapped. He pulls the bishop back. Oh, if I play e5, he checks. But that's not good. Let's play e5. It's a fork. If he checks, I move the king. I'm still attacking his knight. Where does he put the knight? His bishop is unprotected. So if he moves the knight back to g8, no, I could sack on f7, and then once the king takes, I check. Now my plan is coming into the works. I think I'm going to be ahead by a pawn. So if I play immediate queen d5, he has queen e7. So I have to sack, and then I check, and then I takes, and then I'll be ahead by a pawn. So let's just take. King takes, let's give a check. King has to move. Well, my opponent resigns. That was quick. Well, let's see. My accuracy this game was 90%. My opponent played at 83%. And yeah, my position was just good. Bishop back. Ooh, that was actually, yeah, he should have played bishop takes here. But nothing too fancy. I'm just completely winning. Let's do the next game. My opponent is now 21-12. He plays e4. Let's just play e5. So he's attacking my pawn. Let's just play the Petrov defense. And then after he takes, I'm going to play d6. It just chases away his knight. And then his knight has to go back. We take on e4. And this is just equal, basically. After pawn d4, we play d5. And from here, I'm just going to develop and castle bishop to d3. I'm going to go bishop to d6. What we're doing here is just taking out the minor pieces, and then h3 is the first suspicious move. That's an unnecessary pawn move. He has no business making that move. Let me just castle my king though. And then he also castled his king. And then from here, it's just a matter of development. Okay, I'm just going to keep developing here. Let's go bishop to f5, developing my bishop. I could develop my knight on the next move my rook to e8. Just regular stuff. He plays knight to c3, and he's currently attacking my pawn on d5. Looks like there's going to be some liquidation here. I mean, if he takes, I'm able to take. So the question is, do I take and then c6, or do I play c6 now? I'm going to play c6 now, just to keep as much pieces on the board. Usually when you're playing and your goal is to win, you want to keep as much pieces on the board. He plays bishop to e3, and from here I'm just going to complete my development. This knight is the only piece that has not yet moved. Now every single minor pieces has moved. I just need to get my major pieces in the game from here. Now he pulls his knight back to d2, so he really trying to get rid of my knight on e4. The question is, okay, if I move my knight, he's just going to take here. He has 1, 2, 3 attackers on my knight. I have 2 defenders on my knight. Rook to e8 would add, an additional defender, but I'm thinking of just taking on c3. Once the pawn takes, that's double pawns, and then I take here, and then that's just an ugly pawn structure to have. Or I could just play rook to e8. I could also play knight to f6. There's many moves I could play here, but I'm going to take the positional approach. Let's take on c3. Notice how he already has these doubled pawns, and then I'm going to take on d3. Now he has doubled pawns in the center of the board, which is even worse, to be honest. And his bishop is not on a good square. Usually when a bishop is on e3, we always want to play a move like f5. Thing is though, he could play f4, and I'm not really seeing how this benefits my position. f5, f4, okay, it doesn't benefit my position. I think I need to just keep bringing pieces in the game. Queen to a5 immediately starts some attack on his pawn. Let's go queen a5. It moves my queen and it starts an attack on his weak pawn. He plays pawn to c4, which is definitely an interesting move. Knight to b3 could be his next move. I'm now going to play the move knight to f6, so that way if he takes, I'm able to take here, and if he pushes, I'll just pull my bishop back and I'm fine. Knight to b3 is definitely an aggressive move. Let's just pull the queen back to c7, covering this diagonal. Pawn to c5 is not good. That's not a good move. I'm thinking of pulling my bishop back to e7. I think I need to put my bishop on the f4 square though. Now, usually what we do in these types of position is we check on h2 first, forcing the opponent's king to move, and then we pull the bishop back to f4. It just gives us the tempo and it puts their king in the corner. That's the whole idea. Now we pull the bishop back to f4, and black is by no means better here, by the way. He plays queen to f3. He's attacking my bishop. I can't guard the bishop, so I have to take here, and then he takes. This is just the weirdest pawn structure. Like, this is weak, this is weak. My weakest pawn is b7. Let me just get some pieces in the game. We all know that rooks needs files, so let me put my rook on the file, hitting this pawn. And I'm actually thinking of putting both of my rooks on the files, actually. I'm thinking of a5, a4. I don't see how that benefits me. He's gonna push. He's definitely gonna push. Takes, takes. Okay, I'm gonna go rook to e7. The goal is to create a battery. And once he plays e4, I take on e4. And then once he takes back, then I play rook to e8. Now, the whole game, he has to defend his pawn. Pawn push is interesting, but his d4 pawn is a backward pawn. And my knight gets this very strong d5 square. Okay, he pulls his knight back to d2. That's a very nice idea. I think he wants to plant a knight on the d6 square. Yeah, I think I overlooked that idea, to be honest. Maybe I need, okay, f6. Yeah, f6 is good for me here, because he can't take on f6. He may have to play knight c4, and I just want to keep as much tension on his weak e5 pawn. For example, knight c4, he's still not able to take, but knight to d6 is going to be too strong. So let's just take here. If he puts his knight on the e5 square, it's better than his knight being on the d6 square. So his knight is on the e5 square, so that's good. So he has a good knight, I have a good knight. My goal now is to find a way to break down his structure. For example, if I could get rid of this pawn, that would be good. Or I could just play knight f6, knight d7. Yeah, that's an idea, because I have the better pawn structure. So let's just play knight to f6. And once I get to play knight to d7, I'll get rid of his knight. Again, I do not think I'm better here, especially since there's queen to b3 check. But I should be able to move out the way. Pawn to g4 is definitely exposing his position. Knight to d7, queen to b3 check, king to h8, knight to f7 check. And then once I takes, he's going to take my rook. So that's kind of weird. I play queen to d8. I think I want to get rid of the queens off the board in this position. Pawn to g5. I was expecting that. And again, if I pull my knight back to d8, he's going to check. Yeah, I think I'm just getting outplayed here. I'm not sure if I understand the position. But let's just keep on playing. Like, if I'm able to get some pieces off the board, I'm confident that I'm going to have an advantage. Queen to g3, I don't understand. His d4 pawn is weak. He has no good checks on my king. Let's play knight to c7. I'm already threatening to take on d4. He guards it with his knight. If I take, his rook takes. If I takes, his queen takes. I'm thinking of playing queen to d5 just to pin his knight. And if his rook takes my rook, I take back. I'm also thinking of knight to e6. Let's play queen to d5 because it also attacks his pawn on a2. And usually you want to centralize your queen. He moves his king, and it's the same story. If I takes, rook takes. I takes. If queen takes, I take the knight. If knight takes, this is such a weird position. I like rook to e2 check though. Okay, let's go rook to e2 check. If he takes, I take. I just want to be the one who is attacking. Takes. Blocking with the rook makes some sense. Now I should be able to take on a2 and I'm winning because he has no checks on my king. If he takes my knight, I take a free rook, and if he takes my rook, I take back the rook with check. Nice. Yeah, I didn't play the middle game well at all, but middle game is very, very hard to play at like over 2000. So I'm just winning here. Once I get one pawn, that's all I need. Okay, he's gonna take. My knight is gonna be under attack, so it's not as easy. So let's check. He blocks with the queen. That's a bad move. Because once I take, we're now in the end game. And I have an outside pass pawn. And outside pass pawns, they're the best when you're playing against knights. Okay, remember that we don't want to rush the end game though. So how are we going to win this? The first thing, okay, I want to put my king here, here, and then here. Let's say king up, knight up, king up. Or I could go here, and then his knight is not able to move. He moves his king, and then I push. There's so many ways. Oh, I have 1 minute on the clock. What the heck? Okay, let's hit this pawn, hit this pawn. He moves the king. Let's roll the pass pawn. If he puts the king here, okay, that was my plan. Oh my lord, let me get my king in the game. How do I only have 1 minute? Okay, that's a pawn. We just finished him out of a pawn, but I may lose this pawn, so it's very weird position. So he moves the king. Let's grab the pawn. That's not where the king belongs. That's not where the king belongs. Let's just take here. And then once the king takes, okay, I'm not able to roll the pawn just yet, but let's play, yeah, let's play king to g6. Okay, he puts the knight there. Check. Okay, let's just take here. Now I have two outside pass pawns. I can't lose this. Yeah, he resigns. Not bad though. I played this game very, very badly. Well, chess.com says my accuracy was 90%, so that's weird. And I played a few great moves. But yeah, I'm sure I played badly. Like right here, I just misevaluated the whole thing. Pawn push. I thought I was gonna have a very strong knight, but then he pulls back and his knight is very strong. That was a mistake. That was also a mistake. And that he just messes up the position. I think he could have won, but yeah, I made too many mistakes. Plus I could have took with check. But not bad because I still won the game. Let's keep going.